Don't notice the man behind the curtain.
Okay. Hello all. Welcome to the Brony Bullying panel. I am Spike Fireman. I'm an sorry, one panel. Hi, Spike. I'm a wood carver and a Brony, and basically this panel was basically ideated from what events happened a couple of months ago. We all know what happened, right? Michael Moronis and then Grayson. When I heard the news about that, I got furious. But instead of getting mad, I decided, let's share our experiences and talk about it, and hopefully empower, encourage, to basically put an end to this once and for all. Let's introduce, everybody else introduce yourselves.
I'm Dusty Cat, man who's burned the world.
Whoop whoop!
His mustache made millions.
My name is Heavyweight. I am a military Brony. I've been in the Army for 5 years, and
You might know me as Snowflake IRL. Yeah! See, people do know me.
It's because you're so pretty.
I am also a military Brony, Army for 3 years so far, and yeah.
Hello, I'm the Brony chef. I'm a professional chef in Mexico, and I'm a Brony.
Well, as you all notice, that we do have something in common. We're all Bronies. We all love the show My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. And that's one thing that a lot of people do pick on us about, for liking a show that was originally focused towards young children. But if you think about it, it's a good family show. You know, anybody can enjoy it. Lauren Faustino said that, I'm pretty sure I'm quoting it right, that she made the show to really touch everyone.
More general audience.
Yeah.
See, I think the biggest misconception is it was made for a general audience, but Hasbro sells it as a show for little girls. Because they're trying, you know, it's toys, it's money to them. And there's a difference between marketing and the people producing it. And, you know, another big stigma that we have is when you say, oh yeah, I like My Little Pony, most people who aren't familiar with it instantly go to the 1980s one, which was basically a giant cartoon or a commercial for toys.
It was either Walt Disney or Charles Dickens who said that a children's story that is enjoyed by only children is a bad children's story. How many of you see Disney movies? Okay? No stigma around that, right? Suddenly, as soon as people hear that you're into this, immediately the eyebrows go up. And it's, I mean, for us, it's pretty easy because nobody is really going to come to any of us and actually assault us about it. They might try. So, I mean,
Yeah, but for people, some of the young kids that are out there, everybody on this panel was you. Everybody on this panel was bullied when they were younger. Everybody. Okay? I was bullied off my college football team. I quit because of something that happened. Because I couldn't stand up at the time. So we up here don't think that we're talking down to you. We're with you. We've been there. Okay.
Yeah, like, well, when I was in first grade, I ended up getting glasses, and My lenses were literally the size of Coke bottles.
Yep.
Not a joke. I'm legally blind without contacts. I wear contacts now. And from first grade all the way through high school, you know, when I graduated high school, I was bullied every day. Being called names like Four Eyes, Geek. I had my glasses broken on me. I had that fun little thing called a swirly.
Oh,
Yeah, every time I hear the term eau de toilette, I stay away from that. It brings back bad memories because it spells it toilet. So, but you know, I couldn't take it when I was in 6th grade. I literally just had enough, and my school did not want to do anything about it. So I tried to commit suicide. I was hospitalized for it, and the thing is, while I was in there, it made me think, they're not in control of me. They have no physical force to tell me what I can do. They're there just to make my life a living hell, okay? So I basically had the mindset of, I don't need you. I am going to ignore you from now on. I don't care what you say to me. I don't care what you do to me, because I was beaten up too. I came home with with bruises. I was locked into a co-closet where I was turned blue. It took 5 students to pull the teacher to the closet. All right? So I have emotional scars from that. And, you know, I love music, I love quoting music, but one song that stuck out to me was the song from Disturbed, Indestructible. The first 4 lines kind of called to me. Another mission, the powers have called me away. Another time to carry the colors again. My motivation and the oath I've sworn to defend. To win the honor of coming back home again. That was basically my calling to do this panel here at BronyCon. It basically is the story of me. Because I've become indestructible to these words. On Twitter, I was threatened, basically said, somebody tweeted to me, you should kill yourself for liking this show. I said, you know, you don't scare me. I feel sorry for you that you have to resort to this. And I stuck to my guns on that.
I don't know who said this, but an interesting quote that brings up is, when people try and bring you down, that just means you are above them.
Exactly.
And then my story, you might not, I mean, like you said, we were all bullied. My entire life, I was overweight. At my heaviest, when I was 17, I was 300 pounds. And I had no muscle tone, really. I was on the football team in the sense that they let me put the pads on and just kind of stand there during practice, and if they needed the body, they'd put me on. The entire football team, because this is how the jocks think in high school, most of you might know, is they make fun of each other. But I was made fun of a little bit more than everyone else. So, you know, every fat name you could think of, they called me that. And then one day, I don't really remember what had happened during that day at school, but I had had enough. And, you know, this is not the right mindset to go through things, but I said to myself, the next guy who calls me fat, I'm not going to stand for it. And of course, after school, go to football practice. First football player I see calls me fat boy. So I went up to him and we got into a fight. And then after that moment, I was like, I'm sick of this. Something has to change. Luckily, my coaches finally decided that I had after 3 years of being on the practice squad, they let me start. And there was no one in the depth chart, so I was first, second, third, and fourth string during practice. So I, you know, out there, workout, water, practice, water, practice, water. And because, you know, I had that moment where I was like, I'm going to push myself. I'm going to drop the weight. In 2 months, I had dropped 50 pounds. And after that, I was just like, I don't want to go back to that. My dad had been putting me in the gym, or my dad got me into the gym when I was 10, but until I hit 17, I just went through the motions. But once that moment happened, I started going to the gym, I started, lifting weights seriously, I started actually sweating, I started to like it. So I kept working out, kept making sure, I stayed in relatively good shape. And then, rest is history, I guess.
And then we met each other, and we have to look back. It's a really sad situation in our society to where if you're a young person being bullied and you actually do stand up for yourself, you get in trouble. Because, and this is the most stupidest idea that these people have come up with. They tell these kids that are being bullied, oh, you need to go find an adult, you need to go find in the school to take care of it. The point is they don't, and that doesn't work because you are still a victim in the eyes of those who are bullying you because you're not fighting your own battle. I don't condone violence, but when somebody pushes you to that point and you actually fight back, you're no longer the victim. That's the mentality you have to be in. You don't want to be just this punching bag for these people, because if you just you don't respond to them and they just keep going and going and going. If there's no response, they're just going to keep going.
Well, I think an important point that has to be made is, verbally, you should be able to just brush them off. Because really, if they just say something mean to you, you should just be able to. But
somebody insulting you verbally does not warrant a punch in the face. Well, it depends on what they're saying.
Yeah.
But
the thing about words, okay, the thing about language is that language is interpreted up here, okay? Someone can call me derogatory names. They can call me a fag. That's a cigarette in Canada.
Yeah.
They can call me a faggot. That's actually a textile term.
Mm-hmm. Oh, a bundle of sticks.
They can call me
gay, and
they call me gay. Hey, I'm happy. I have friends in San Francisco. No problem. I live in San Jose. It's great going up to San Francisco. I have gay friends. I have lots of gay friends.
Some of the nicest people.
Some of the nicest people I've ever met.
Yeah, it's so
creative. But the thing is, words only have the power that your mind gives them. They're just words. They're just ink on paper. They're what you read, they're what people say. But words only have the power that you give them, okay? If you let the words bother you, then the words are winning. You need to tell people who are using those words that you don't care what they say about me. I don't give a rat patootie what people say about me anymore.
Keep that one clean.
Right, I'm sorry. I'm trying. PG show. But I don't know if anybody was here last year, okay? But there were a bunch of people, I'll use the term loosely, 4Js, that were going around with bags of cooked spaghetti that were either throwing them at people or would come up to them and say, hey, how you doing? And throwing them on the ground in front of people. And somebody had made a remark online that they were going to throw this spaghetti at the VAs while they were in the VA line. And I took umbrance to that because some of the VAs are my friends. They've been on my show. And I found him in line and I confronted him. I said, hey, where is it? What? Where's the spaghetti? Well, I don't have any spaghetti. Dude, we're watching you right here. You're saying it. Where is it? And I got it in his face. And I said, hey, this ain't gonna happen because we're watching. Well, that particular person got a conscience, said, you know what, this was wrong, he turned in his badge, he went home. But his buddies on set board were going to avenge him. So outside, I'm taking pictures with some people, and these 4 kids come up. They say, we want a picture too. Okay. So one kid takes his camera, like this. And I got these other guys, 2 guys here, like, happy-go-lucky, we're gonna take a picture. And all of a sudden this guy goes, 1, 2, 3, spaghetti! And they all throw the spaghetti at me. And I took umbrance to that. So I did something that I probably shouldn't have done. I should have brushed it off. But grabbed this guy in a headlock, grabbed his bag of spaghetti, grind it into his chest, and move him away. Because 1-on-1 is better than 4-on-1. So as I'm moving this guy away and saying derogatory things about spaghetti, he says, and I quote, you were supposed to surround him. And do what? Kick me in the kidneys? Take me down? And do what? So as I shove this guy away and get out of the situation, the one I've moved away says, well, you don't have to assault me. I said, who assaulted who here in this situation? So I take his bag of spaghetti and I throw it at him and say, take your spaghetti and get out of here. And from 20 feet, I hit him in the face with it.
It was a glorious video.
It was a glorious video. It is a glorious video on YouTube. Okay, which says Dusty rages at BronyCon. Now, some of you have probably seen this video, and they pixelated their own faces, which means they're obviously innocent. They cut the video, so they didn't hear you were supposed to surround him, and they cut out the part where I hit the guy in the face with a bag of spaghetti. So basically, it's a complete 100% bullying tactic against me. Okay, so I was rather upset when that video hit, and it took me about a week to calm down. But I turned it around, and I got lucky that some friends of mine said, hey, why don't we use that? So when another convention came around, excuse me, they did a...
Nightmare Nights, right?
Nightmare Nights, yes. We did a food drive, and we called it the Spaghetti Feed. And sure enough, we raised $5,000 worth of food for the Northwest Food. So that is an extreme example of taking something bad and making good from it. Even though it was against you and it makes you hurt, it makes you hurt and think. But you can take their anger and their useless efforts and turn it into something good. If you really stop and think about it. I mean, if they're coming after you, it's obviously that you're better than they are and they're jealous.
They perceive you as a threat.
They perceive you as a threat, or they perceive you as somebody that can take, whatever is going through their heads. But you're obviously better than they are because they want to bring you down to their level. So don't let them.
One thing to really keep in mind too is that most people who do bully you do it because they have a pretty bad life, usually at home. So, with me, after 5 years in the Army, I'm a very sarcastic person.
Yes, you are.
Yes. So,
No, really?
like, you're kidding. Stop it. But,
Stop it, Ron.
so, when people try to insult me, I'm able to instantly just fire back. And I usually will go along with their joke and just turn it into sarcasm, and it just derails them. Because they're like, well, he's not playing the victim, this isn't funny. So, but back to what I was saying before about bullies actually being victims of something themselves, they usually act out that way because of things that are going on at home or because they're insecure about themselves, so they want to take their own focus off themselves and put it on you. So you kind of have to keep that in mind, but my phone's ringing, it's distracting me. So bear with me.
This didn't happen this month.
I forgot what I was saying.
Well, actually, I think the best example, though, of that situation is Babsy. If you remember One Bad Apple, she was bullying the Key Market Staters, but it turned out she was being bullied back at home. And in order so she wouldn't be bullied, she basically stepped into that role. Now, you don't know what a person's situation is. You don't know what is going on up in here in their heads. You don't know what's going on at home. And, the person that's bullying you could be a Babsy, I think she would be the best example on that, on that example he gave.
Yeah, because normally bullies have tons of problems in the person or the family, so they're just trying to make your life miserable because his life basically sucks.
Misery loves company.
Yes.
Yeah. So they kind of absorb your happiness, and you're just like, why? Why me among all these people in the world?
Sometimes you have to look at the people that are bullying you with a wider lens. Basically, how I'm trying to say that is that I had a bully. His name was Chuck Marshall, and he was about this tall to me during high school. But I was the oversensitive big kid. I'm sure some of you guys are that.
Yes.
And I can do that, he's my friend.
Yes.
But
Smile.
being the oversensitive big kid and with a dad who was like 6 foot nothing, 320 pounds, ex-semi-pro football player, he says, you don't fight at school, you're there to learn. And you definitely don't fight your brothers. But, okay, so I took that to the extreme and didn't stand up for myself for a very, very long time. And this kid basically was a bully, and he took advantage of that. Basically, he'd come up and give me heck whenever he had a chance. And to make a long story short, he basically confronted me with a bunch of his friends when I had 3 guys with me and said, I want to fight you. I said, why? Why do you want to fight me? Because I want to fight you. That's not a good reason. I went to walk away, and he kicked me in the back. And I went white rage because I just had enough. And from what I'm told, because I don't remember what happened, I ended up putting the kid in the hospital just because I'd lost it. It was gone. I had 2 guys who were on the defensive line trying to hold me back and telling people, get him out of here, he's going to kill him. And things happened, and I go down to the principal's office. There was police. There was Chuck Marshall's dad calling for my head. And my dad, who had to drive 45 minutes from work to come for this, and he didn't look happy. But surprisingly enough, my dad stood up for me. And he told Marshall's dad in no uncertain terms that if his son ever touched me again, he would take him out and do things. And when the school tried to suspend me, he told the principal, no, this has been going on for too long, you didn't do anything about it, he stood up for himself, you're not doing anything. And when we got home, I thought I was dead. I thought I was the leather belt, everything. And he sat me down and he said, okay, now, if this happens again, just back off a little bit. Okay, Dad, no problem. So, but from that point on, I had pretty much no problems. And that's the extreme. If somebody attacks you, physically, you need to stand up. You need to say, I'm not going to take that. You're not going to hit me. You're not going to physically abuse me. And you can ball up and have them start kicking you and taking you out and all that stuff, but it's not going to stop them. No. It's not going to stop them at all.
It's like I was talking about earlier, being the victim.
Don't play the victim. Words are one thing, but once they start swinging,
fight back.
You need to stand up. You need to stand up.
Don't be a doormat.
Yes, don't be a doormat, as Iron Will says.
Don't just a doormat.
If somebody comes after you and starts pushing you around, stand up to them. Most of these bullies do this because they don't have anybody to stand up to them. They don't, it's like, okay, I'm going to push this kid around, push that kid around because they can get away with it. Mm-hmm. If somebody pushes you and you get back in their face and chest bump them and go, I'm not going to take that. Mm-hmm. You don't have to swing. You just get up and say, I'm not going to take that. I'm just not. Then that person will have some respect for you and say, oh, wow, I can't push him around. I'll go find somebody, easier. And then when they go try to bully that guy, you go stand up for that person. If they go try to bully that person, you go stand up for that person. Because the only way bullying is going to stop is if everybody surrounds that person and go, we're not going to take it at all, ever again. And if you're going to go bully my friends, I'm going to stand up for my friends. If you're going to bully people I don't even know, I'm going to stand up for that person. Because you are in the wrong.
Yeah. With my story, I changed schools in 3rd grade to a very small town school where the population of the town was 1,400 people. So everybody had already gone through the first 3 grades and everyone knew each other, and I was the new kid. So guess who the target was? Me. It really wasn't as bad as, like, say, what happened to Fire Main, but it was the typical, little white kid, let's push him around, let's do all this stuff. They threatened to jump me, gang style. Do you know what that means? To a 3rd grader. And eventually I got into middle school and I was in band. So 2 things working against me for him, right? Let's beat up a kid with a big suitcase thing because we don't know what it is. And then in high school I started playing football and defensive line, and suddenly it stopped. because once you show them that you're not the victim and you're not going to take it, and it's really not in their best interest to keep bothering you.
Or at the very least, you're showing that you can defend yourself.
Right. So
Make it stop.
I personally will never look down on anyone who defends themselves, because that's something that you have, as a man, you have to do that. You can't sit there and just be a doormat and let just people walk over you all the time. You can't. You're not going to get anywhere.
Not even just as a man, as a person.
As a
Yeah.
person. Yeah, I agree with you on that one, Dustin. I mean, one really good example going between the two of them, I heard a couple of quotes. One of them pertains to about language and the effective view. Who here has ever heard of George Carlin? Okay, in 1992 he had an HBO special, George Carlin doing it again. First off, I did get permission from Carol E. Carlin to quote him, so I do have permission. So
Yeah, you do.
I did. I actually contacted her. She said, absolutely go for it. My dad would be happy that somebody is using his word to help people. There is absolutely nothing wrong with any words in and of themselves. They're only words. It's the context that counts. It's the user. It's the intention behind the words that makes them good or bad. The words are completely neutral. The words are innocent. He goes, I get tired of talking about, people talking about bad words and bad language. Baloney. I'm cleaning it up there. It's the context that makes them good or bad. The context that makes them good or bad. So keep in mind, whatever they say, if it's a bad context, change it to a good one. At least do that. As Dusty said about, 3 examples. Fag, faggot, and gay. Change it from the hurtful, negative context to the positive context. Oh, you like My Little Pony, you must be gay. Yes, the show makes me happy. I like it because I feel good about myself because it promotes friendship and peace. Right?
Yep.
Love and tolerance. Right?
Once I was in a Skype call and a friend said, men are supposed to like undress men with guns
I like
and
guns.
violence.
Guns and raw meat and football. Yeah.
So that was supposed to, make you man. I like ponies. I'm still a man.
In a way, I feel that in and of itself is more manly, because if you're man enough to stand up and say that you like something which is a little controversial, that takes a lot more courage than you just go with the crowd.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gay because you like My Little Pony. Oh, please tell me more about my sexuality, because you would know more about it than I would.
Yeah.
I don't know why I have that picture of the Willy Wonka meme in my head now.
Because that's where I got it from.
Oh, thank you. But another quote that I heard, I just can't remember who the original person that said this was. One voice in a crowd is silence, but a group of voices is deafening. And there was no better example than the hashtag Stand with Grayson. That thing trended very quickly. That was basically, with internet terms, that is deafening. But if one person just did it and that was it, it's silence.
See, and that's another thing, is with Grayson, it wasn't even about getting the bullying. It was they picked on, after that, the adults picked on the victim.
Mm-hmm.
It was, hey, it's not, hey, stop picking on this kid. It's, hey, this kid should try and stop making himself a target. And that's just stupid.
Wrong, exactly.
Because just because he likes My Little Pony, just because he wants to show it, that makes him wrong. That's, no. I mean, look at us here.
Yeah.
I mean,
The 3 of us, when that happened, we're all from California, and we were all talking like, how much is a flight down there?
I actually was thinking the same thing. I said, Mom, can I borrow the car for about a couple of days? I gotta get on a trip. No,
we were pretty freaking angry.
yeah, we wanted to get down to his school, show up with him in pony shirts.
The whole
Like,
thing.
so who wants to make fun of My Little Pony?
Yeah.
I heard that you don't like
I heard that you don't like ponies. Have you been to the Church of Rainbow Dash lately?
Have you heard these good words of our Vegas Celestia?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't.
And in fact,
I
if
don't know.
that Twitter thing hadn't happened, Grayson never would have been on Glenn Beck.
Exactly.
I don't normally agree with Glenn Beck.
I don't normally agree
on
with you.
anything, but
Yeah.
exactly. But really, when it comes to like internet bullying, one thing you have to keep in mind is that the only reason these people are saying that is because they're protected by a screen.
Yeah.
In reality.